This episode is sponsored by ExpressVPN.
America cannot stop setting milestones in this fight against COVID-19. Less than a week after our official infection numbers jumped to the front of the pack, our number of deaths have now surpassed 9/11. We hit 3,000 deaths on Monday, and just a day later, we hit 4,000. So that's 1,000 coronavirus deaths per day for now, and it shows no signs of slowing down.
No.
Even our commander-in-chief, who previously predicted that this would all be over by Easter.
Because that bunny's going to come and take care of everything.
Well, that bunny has died of the coronavirus.
Yeah, we regret to inform you the bunny has died.
And Trump has shifted ever so slightly in his prognosis, now saying that a total death toll between 100,000 and 240,000 Americans would be the best case scenario, and that we're in for, quote, a hell of a bad 2 weeks. So yeah, there's no dancing around the fact that this is all pretty fucking terrifying. In all likelihood, we're looking at the equivalent of somewhere between 33 and 80 9/11s in the next few months.
Or a handful of Vietnams.
Yeah, throw that in there too. Let's just start measuring our tragedies and other tragedies.
Yeah, that's how everyone's doing it.
It's fucking terrible. There's very little any of us can actually do about it except to like stay the hell inside, stay the hell away from other people, keep our hands clean, keep your hands away from your faces, and just keep doing that for the foreseeable future and not fuck up a single time.
My favorite part of the graph, and when I say favorite, I mean I hate it, is the point that he kept saying, listen, if we had done nothing, it would have been like 2 million. Yeah, we did some things.
That's one way of looking at it.
But when he says we did the things, that's not true at all. Yeah, because there's a dozen or more states that haven't fully enacted stay-at-home policies. Florida today finally just enacted theirs, and the actual policy is bullshit. It's just like, Governor Ron DeSantis pretty much said, we're really not going to be able to enforce this anyway, so do whatever you want. And right there in the provision, it says that people can go to church. So that pastor is within his rights.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, the White House, they haven't done anything. They just be like, hey, here's some loose guidelines that are not enforceable. Stay safe out there, folks.
Yeah. It's insane. Anyways, that might be the most horribly grim opening that we've ever done for an episode, but to paraphrase what various doctors and nurses have been saying, the next episode's intro will likely be worse.
It's only gonna get worse.
It's pretty much all bad news today and every day for the next month, but hey, some of that bad news is also funny, or will at least try to make you laugh while you cry. So let's start out with one of those stories. Most people are pretty much powerless in this whole situation, but some people, they are in a position to try and help things, like Australian astrophysicist Dr. Daniel Reardon, who came up with a plan to slow the spread of the virus. Invent a necklace that vibrates when the wearer's hands get too close to their face.
Aha!
A simple, straightforward effort, but Dr. Reardon ended up hospitalized himself in the process.
As he tells it, quote, I had a part that detects magnetic fields. I thought that if I built a circuit that could detect the magnetic field and we wore magnets on our wrists, then it could set off an alarm if you brought it too close to your face. A bit of boredom and isolation made me think of that. Unfortunately though, quote, I accidentally invented a necklace that buzzes continuously unless you move your hand close to your face. After scrapping that idea, I was still a bit bored playing with the magnets. It's the same logic as clipping pegs to your ears. I clipped them to my earlobes and then clipped them to my nostril, and things went downhill pretty quickly when I clipped the magnets to my other nostril.
Basically, some magnets ended up stuck to each other in his nostrils. So he decided to try to use more magnets to get those other magnets out, but he ended up with even more magnets stuck inside of his nose, and no more magnets left to try to get those magnets out. So he sent a tiger in there. No, he didn't. But, quote, my partner took me to the hospital that she works in because she wanted all of her colleagues to laugh at me. The doctors thought it was quite funny, making comments like, this is an injury due to self-isolation and boredom. When they got the 3 out from the left nostril, the last one fell down my throat, he said. That could have been a bit of a problem if I swallowed or breathed it in, but I was thankfully able to lean forward and cough it out. Needless to say, I am not going to play with the magnets anymore. So, my theory debunked, but it was a good thing that it didn't go all the way down.
Worth a go.
Yeah.
And
with how far back they went, they could have just scrubbed those magnets and tested them for coronavirus without putting it all the way up his nose.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what happened to this guy is essentially, remember those Bucky-balls that everyone was buying?
Benoit balls?
No, they were like those little fucking like BBs that were magnetized.
Oh, and you could build stuff with them?
Yeah, like after like 6 months, they took them off the market because little kids kept swallowing them.
And animals, and yeah.
And it was like, they'd have to like open up their intestines because it was just...
What could go wrong? Giving everyone a bunch of magnetized ball bearings for their house.
Yeah, it's not just babies, though. It's apparently astrophysicists.
Yeah.
But hey, at least Dr. Daniel Reardon tried his best, and that's more than you can say for a lot of people. For example, way back in 2007, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services ran the numbers and decided that in the event of a moderate flu pandemic, the U.S. needed around 70,000 more ventilator machines than it currently had. They also concluded that their existing machines were too big, too expensive, and too complicated to use, so this new batch of ventilators would be a brand new design. They would cost less than $3,000 a piece, and they would be ready for production by 2011.
Well, of course, none of that happened. The company chosen to design and make the ventilators was Newport Medical Instruments, who were happy to take on the project, and by 2011 they'd already sent prototypes to DC for approval. But in 2012, the medical device industry saw a ton of mergers and acquisitions, including Newport Medical Instruments being bought by Covidien for $100 million. Well, let's just read from the New York Times right now. Quote, Newport executives and government officials working on the ventilator contract said they immediately noticed a change when Covidien took over. Developing inexpensive portable ventilators no longer seemed like a top priority. Newport applied in June 2012 for clearance from the Food and Drug Administration to market the device, but two former federal officials said Covidien had demanded additional funding and a higher sales price for those ventilators. The government gave the company an additional $1.4 million, a drop in the bucket for a company of Covidien's size. Government officials and executives at rival ventilator companies said they suspected that Covidien had acquired Newport to prevent it from building a cheaper product that would undermine Covidien's profits from its existing ventilator business. You could see why that would appear a little bit fucked up.
Yeah, so in 2014, Covidien finally just came out and told the federal government, tear up that contract. We're not doing it because in their opinion, the deal wasn't sufficiently profitable for them. So that was that.
Listen, I'm just trying to make a couple of bucks.
Yeah,
here.
all it took was 7 years from point A to point B to accomplish fucking nothing. And not long after, though, Covidien was bought by Medtronic, an even bigger company, for $50 billion. The government then started over at square one, hiring Philips to start developing new ventilators, which were finally approved by the FDA last July. In December 2019, the government ordered 10,000 Philips ventilators with a delivery date set for mid-2020. Obviously, they're now putting pressure on Philips to, I don't know, try to get that done a little quicker than originally planned. But yeah, long story short, the Department of Health and Human Services knew all the way back during the fucking Bush administration that we should get a lot more ventilators in case of a pandemic. And thanks to the medical device industry being so profit-driven and having constant mergers and acquisitions, we don't have enough ventilators. And a lot of people will die during this current pandemic as a direct result.
Well, at least Covidien got to save a couple of bucks.
Hey, that's what's important, isn't it?
Now, it's one thing to not take pandemics seriously while they're still hypothetical, but it's another thing entirely to not take pandemics seriously while you're in the midst of a pandemic. So let's check in now on some people that are doing exactly that. And we previously discussed Liberty University. That's the evangelical Christian university run by Jerry Falwell Jr. And we talked about how they told their students and their faculty to come on back to campus after spring break, despite that being a bad idea. A very, very bad idea. And is anyone surprised? You already know what we're going to say. It turned out that it was a bad idea.
Oh.
Wow. A dozen returning students quickly started experiencing COVID-19 symptoms, and one student tested positive. And that one student was probably around a bunch of other students. Could you imagine?
You would think.
Yeah.
You would think.
I mean, who could have seen this coming? Obviously not God. That fucking moron.
Yeah, God really dropped the ball on this one.
He's dropping the ball all over the place.
I don't think he likes us.
No, it's because no one's going to church. Yeah. We need to get everyone back in the church right now, as quickly as possible.
Yeah. Or no, don't. Do the opposite of that.
He was actually mad that they went to spring break.
Yeah.
Heathens.
That den of sin, Florida. Now, elsewhere in the world of evangelical Christianity, Hobby Lobby, who we previously told you was staying open for business because its owner's wife had a dream where God said it was okay. They did end up closing their stores down in states that enacted shelter-in-place policies, which is most states. But only for a few days, because they then started quietly reopening dozens of locations in multiple states, including all 19 of its stores in Ohio and 17 of its 20 stores in Wisconsin. They also reopened a store in Indiana for a total of 1 hour before local authorities showed up and forced them to close again.
Good.
What are you doing?
Good for you, Indiana. How else are we going to sell these plastic roses and picture frames?
Yeah, basically they're saying that selling craft supplies is an essential service, even though it's not.
No.
And while most of these reopened stores will almost certainly be closed forced closed again in the coming days. A lot of Hobby Lobby employees are not happy about being back at work, even if it's just for a couple days.
One employee in the Midwest, they told Business Insider, quote, "This has all been so stressful and exhausting. I don't want to stay home because I'm too lazy to work. I want to stay home to do my part to stop the spread of the virus." Another employee in Ohio said, "The main thing is they're not really telling us anything. Last Monday we closed because we were a non-essential business, basically, and that was fine with me. Not even 4 days later, we're reopened because they're saying we're essential now." Okay. An employee in North Carolina said, "Hobby Lobby is fighting that we are an essential store. There is absolutely nothing in Hobby Lobby worth spreading this illness. I'm honestly appalled at this company and the way it doesn't care for its employees and only about making their money." Hobby Lobby is also apparently not letting employees wear masks or gloves because of, there's a lot of companies reported.
Grocery stores are doing this.
Yeah, they're not letting people wear masks and gloves because it might be too scary for the customers.
No,
it would make me feel safe if I went into a place and all the employees were wearing that.
Yeah, and I've heard it has the opposite effect for me.
I've heard about the plexiglass stuff as well, where cashiers are behind plexiglass, which is good. It would make me feel more comfortable.
I would feel much more comfortable if everyone was wearing masks.
Yeah. They're also not providing enough cleaning supplies to ensure that stores are safe, which, bad.
Yeah.
Bad. In conclusion, fuck you, Hobby Lobby. This literally smells of, we're going to close our stores so we get all the headlines that we close the stores and then reopen them and hope that no one notices except for our customers.
Yeah,
they're come by knickknacks.
They're a bad company. And sadly, that specific industry of stores, like Hobby Lobby's kind of the only ones left. Like I think Michael's is still technically around, but
they bought that frame company, Aaron Brothers.
Yeah, and I mean,
Hobby Lobby jacked up the prices.
I've only shopped at Hobby Lobby like once, but I was like, I mean, they kind of do have all the craft stuff.
Hobby Lobby,
but fuck these people.
At least the ones that I've been in are just a fucking mess. There's shit all over the place.
Yeah.
It's like the Big Lots of craft stores.
Yeah, it's true. Meanwhile, Florida evangelical pastor Rodney Howard Brown may have been arrested for violating rules against large gatherings by holding church services in his megachurch. But since we're talking about evangelicals here, he's of course become a martyr over this, and it's only encouraged other churches to be even more stupid. Pennsylvania pastor Jonathan Shuttlesworth, a friend of Rodney Howard Brown, responded to his friend's arrest by announcing that his church would be holding a massive outdoor Easter gathering. He compared it to Woodstock, said people are going to be coming from all over the country to celebrate. This is almost certainly not going to actually happen unless the congregation turns it into like a Waco situation.
which is always possible.
Would not shock me, actually. But it's still incredibly irresponsible to even be talking about this, even suggesting it. The fuck is wrong with you?
Listen, these people, yes, sure. They're going to kill themselves inadvertently because of this. But then they're going to kill a lot of people who did everything right. And that's what sucks about all of this.
Yeah, it's not fair.
If they want to be raptured, leave their shoes, go up to heaven, that's on them. Yeah. Don't take me with you. Okay? Another pastor down in Louisiana, Tony Spell of Life Tabernacle Church, he was arrested this week after continuing to hold large church services despite Louisiana's ban on gatherings of more than 50 people, which is still way too high.
Yeah.
It's like 5 people. Come on.
5 is probably the max, I would say.
But this pastor, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to keep doing it. That's what he said. He is going to
do it twice as hard.
He's going to keep doing this. He also said a bunch of other stupid shit like, the virus, we believe, is politically motivated. We hold our religious rights dear, and we are going to assemble no matter what someone says. He also said, we're also going to pass out anointed handkerchiefs to people who may have a fear, who may have a sickness, and we believe that when those anointed handkerchiefs go, the healing virtue is going to go on them as well. So you put on your protective, blessed handkerchief, and then you're all good.
Do evangelicals do holy water? I don't know.
They're the ones that hold the snakes, right?
Yeah.
No, they're just like, they're bonkers.
Yeah. This is like with Catholics and holy water. Like, safe.
Listen, I talk to my dad it's hard to talk to him right now because he's being so stupid. But also I follow like my local subreddits where I grew up. And a lot of people's businesses, like business owners there, have the same attitude as like my dad, who thinks this is a giant hoax against Donald Trump to get him to not be reelected. It is a real belief that this is all something cooked up to like ruin churches.
Where did they get that idea?
I don't know. But yeah, it's an actual belief that a lot of people have. And it sucks because these people are... You hate to see the older generation. You should really be having a great time with your parents right now.
Yeah.
And it really hurts me to have grown up with my parents. You know, you look up to them as superheroes, and then I kind of like see my dad. I'm like, you're incredibly intelligent. You're a great guy, but for some reason, this man has infected your brain, and it is ruining everything.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Florida.
Not looking good at all.
A bunch of the retirement communities, because old people, they don't give a fuck. They've been going on cruises during all of this.
They want to die on a cruise.
And they're bringing it back. Like the villages, that big one in like Boca Raton or whatever, that where like 20,000 people live, like more and more people there keep testing because these fucking old people keep going on cruises, and cruise ships, like you might as well just give them $2,000 to shoot you in the fucking face at this point. Like, what are you doing getting on that boat?
My friend works at Lowe's and like sends me pictures in the parking lot, and it's just like people that are one step from having walkers, just like carrying things like flowers out to their cars, like total essential items. But it's just so frustrating. It's so frustrating. I can't talk any sense into my dad. He's just like, we'll be fine. The problem with having an invisible enemy is you can't see it.
Yeah.
So you can't believe it. Your brain doesn't really make that connection.
But hey, it's not just evangelical churches and Floridians being really dumb about everything. Over in New York City, which has been hit harder than anywhere else so far in the country, for whatever reason, people left their homes on Monday morning to just go crowd up the west side of Manhattan to get a look at a Navy hospital ship that was arriving. It's a boat. Everyone look at that. Let's all crowd and get a look at the boat.
Look, you see it's on the TV here on my phone, and it's right there.
Big boat. Yeah, just standing shoulder to shoulder in the epicenter of a plague, trying to snap some pics of a damn boat.
That's where I'm going to be in 1 week.
Just use Google Images.
Yeah. Just watch TV.
Like, what the fuck is this? Pissed me off so much. What is wrong with you people? We are 2 weeks out from hospital resources across the country, but especially where you live, being fully maxed out. And you are outside doing everything in your power to catch a disease that has a 2-week incubation period. Fuck you. Stay inside.
I'm sure it was Bill de Blasio who was just on TV going, all right, listen, this boat's only going to be here once. So yeah, sure, everyone go there, but maintain some social distancing. We all want to see the boat.
Hey, you ever seen a boat this big?
It's a big white boat.
It's a big white boat with a cross on it. It's like a hospital that floats. God damn it.
Anyways, Phil is back again this week with another remote quarantine report for us, but first, it's time to thank this week's sponsor, and that's ExpressVPN. We all know how ExpressVPN protects your privacy and security online, right? Well, here's something you might not know. You can also use ExpressVPN to unlock movies and shows that are only available in other countries. A lot of you are stuck at home right now, and it's only a matter of time before you run out of stuff to watch on Netflix. So just fire up ExpressVPN, change your location, hit refresh, and boom. You like Doctor Who? Well, it's not on Netflix USA, but it is on Netflix UK.
ExpressVPN works by hiding your IP address and letting you control where you want sites to think you're located. You can choose from almost 100 different countries, so just think about all the Netflix libraries that you can go through. Do you love anime? Well, you can use ExpressVPN to access Japanese Netflix and be spirited away. It's not just Netflix, though. ExpressVPN works with any streaming service. Hulu, BBC iPlayer, YouTube, you name it. There are hundreds of VPNs out there, but the reason we use ExpressVPN to watch shows is it's ridiculously fast. There's never any buffering or lag, and you can stream in HD, no problem.
The Brits have the best worst reality TV.
Yeah.
Check out that iPlayer. You're going to like what you see. ExpressVPN is also compatible with all of your devices, phones, media consoles, smart TVs, and more, so that you can watch on a personal device or you can watch on the big screen, wherever you are. So visit our special link, expressvpn.com/newsday, and you'll get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. Support our show, watch what you want, and protect yourself with ExpressVPN at expressvpn.com/newsday, or click the link below.
All right, let's check in now with Phil, who's got some news for you about all that video chatting you've been up to lately.
What up, y'all? I came outside because I was losing my mind inside, but I'm still home, just right outside of it, so let's just slow it down there. But we're all finding ways of coping with this, whatever lockdown version we're currently in, and those lucky folks who still have jobs are no exception. So people used to dread meetings or seeing their boss face-to-face or conference calls, but right now, everybody can collectively dread Zoom, a video teleconferencing service that's free and available pretty much on every platform out there. So Zoom works like this. Someone sets up a video meeting and you join it, and then you obsessively stare at yourself and then try not to get depressed when you see like the squalor that your coworkers live in. There's a million video apps out there for phones and for everything else, but Zoom leans into the corporate side of things and has been a fan favorite for the past month or so. I mean, look at their stock. It's been surging since late February, and I wonder what that coincides with. I think you can figure it out. But if you look, they've had some ups and downs since, so let's look at some of the issues with Zoom. Around mid-March, the EFF started peeling back the layers of this Orwellian nightmare, such as the host of a Zoom call can track whether you have Zoom as the active window, meaning if you click off of Zoom for any reason whatsoever, to look something up, to reply to an email, to search for toilet paper on Amazon, you know, because you're crazy, your boss will know you're doing something other than pay 100% attention to the call. Zoom calls it attention tracking. I call it we're living in hell. So your boss can also watch Zoom calls on the cloud DVR, read the transcripts and all the chats that you sent, and my favorite, join a call immediately and unannounced. Imagine the real world of this, where you're sitting there talking to someone in an office or behind closed doors or in the parking lot, and your boss just teleports in the room. It's not good. Then, about a week after all this information was made public, we found out that Zoom's iOS app was sending data to Facebook. Especially even if you don't have a Facebook account, which is, bravo. Pat Walsh from Privacy Matters scrubbed their terms of service and said there's nothing in the privacy policy that addresses that. Undocumented Facebook integration and omitting a major data transmission from their TOS? I call it we're living in hell. So the next day, Zoom magically fixed sending data to Facebook and told Motherboard, Zoom takes its users' privacy extremely seriously. We originally implemented the login with Facebook feature using the Facebook SDK in order to provide our users with another convenient way to access our platform. However, we were recently made aware that Facebook SDK was collecting unnecessary device data. Ah yes, the leaky data magnet Facebook SDK, the engine that runs the hell that I call what we're living in. But at least Zoom is a secure service that's protecting your data using encryption, as you can see by this lock here. Except they're not. The Intercept reached out to Zoom about this, and their statement, it sounds like someone spilled some Scrabble letters into it and some alphabets. Check this out. This is what Zoom said. Currently, it is not possible to enable E2E encryption for Zoom video messages. Zoom video meetings use a combination of TCP and UDP. TCP connections are made using TLS, and UDP connections are encrypted with AES using a key negotiated over a TLS connection. So here's the short version of what that means. Zoom can see your video if they really, really want to. It's supposedly encrypted for everybody outside, but you can see it and they can see it, but everyone else outside can't see it, but they can see it if they want to. And I don't know if I'm really in love with trusting a company that was, I don't know, sending my data to Facebook a week ago. There's a lot more issues popping up due to Zoom's popularity. They're leaking user information. They're getting sued for the whole Facebook thing. And the FBI has issued a warning about Zoom hijackings, affectionately called Zoom bombing, which allows randos to join any public meeting, which, don't worry, a public meeting is the default kind of meeting on Zoom. People are Zoom bombing college lectures and blasting porno. They're spreading Nazi propaganda and trolling AA meetings by saying stuff like alcohol is so good. Maybe we deserve that pandemic. All right, so let's say you're not one of the lames using Zoom and you just want to party. Well, then you should get House Party, the video chat app that lets you play games with friends. I mean, come on, how is it better than Zoom? Well, for one, there are bizarre claims that the app has been hacked, but the makers of House Party claim there's been no such breach. Wait, that's actually not better than Zoom. That's worse than Zoom. Okay, so let me put a little weird sauce on this story to make it a little weirder. House Party and their owner Epic, yes, that Epic Games, claim this is a paid commercial smear campaign and are offering a $1 million bounty to anyone who can help find out who did this. This sort of sounds like an insane plot from CSI Miami. I'll do that. And then someone's dad teamed up and made fan fiction, and it stars Hackerman. Well, at least Zoom and House Party are two of the most popular apps out there, and not the sketchy-sounding Sneak. What does Sneak do? Nothing except makes a grid of faces, by the way, their words, grid of faces. And depending on how often your boss mandates, it takes a picture from your webcam every 1 to 5 minutes. You like magic tricks? Let me see if I can make this worse with the help of my lovely assistant, Business Insider. If a coworker clicks on their face, Sneak's default settings will instantly connect the two workers on a live video call, even if the recipient hasn't clicked accept. However, people can also configure their settings to only accept calls manually and to take webcam photos manually if their employer allows it. Only if your boss says so. And you know what I call that? I call it we're living in hell. So jokes aside, everyone stay safe out in there or right outside of wherever they live, because, you know, you're probably much safer in your home where your boss could be spying on you. Just watching, taking photos every minute. Bye.
Thank you, Phil. Well, that sucks. Anyways, let's get on to some other news. This shouldn't really come as any surprise, but this coronavirus situation has made some of the workforce who are actually still out there doing essential services to start making demands, and good for them. Many of Instacart's gig workers who go pick up people's groceries for them, they've gone on strike, demanding an additional $5 per order in hazard pay, a default tip of 10% as well, and also some hand sanitizer and disinfectant wipes. Doesn't seem like it should be out of the realm of possibility.
Reasonable asks.
They're also demanding sick pay for workers who have a doctor's note saying that they have a pre-existing condition that puts them at risk. Now, so far, Instacart has budged very slightly, but strike organizers say that it's not nearly enough.
Yeah, meanwhile, Amazon-owned Whole Foods, they had workers stage a sick out at multiple stores on Tuesday. I think that's where you use your sick days or something. It was a walkout. Yeah. They were protesting their lack of guaranteed paid sick leave for workers who have to self-quarantine, as well as the lack of adequate sanitation equipment. This is a pattern.
Yes.
These people need to be able to clean their shit. Also, the lack of healthcare coverage for part-time and seasonal workers, and the fact that stores have remained open even after employees at those stores have tested positive. Amazon itself has also faced walkouts and threats of a strike at multiple warehouse locations by workers who are understandably freaked out about all the confirmed coronavirus cases at their workplaces, and a lot of them are a bit suspicious that Amazon is covering up the actual numbers of people who are getting sick at these places. In Staten Island, Amazon fired the organizer of that warehouse's walkout, but actually it wasn't for the walkout.
Well, because that would be illegal.
Yeah, that would be illegal. That would violate labor laws.
Yeah.
Supposedly, he had violated their social distancing guidelines, and they had to let him go. That's why he was fired. It was not about the protesting. We love the protesting.
Yeah, we love to see it.
It wasn't about that. It was this, you broke some other rules, some arbitrary other rules. So they're going to get so fucking sued over this, and I'm excited.
Now, we're going to be seeing plenty more of this as essential workers continue to demand better compensation and benefits for putting their lives at risk, which they are. Yeah. They are doing that. And, you know, that's good. These companies have plenty of money, and they're nothing without their labor. So these are reasonable demands, with or without the pandemic going on.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be serious. Now, meanwhile, over at General Electric, workers are also protesting, but for slightly different reasons. GE employees who normally make jet engines but were recently laid off have staged protests demanding that they get their jobs back at the factory, but producing ventilators instead of engines. Seems like a pretty good idea since there aren't nearly enough ventilators right now, so hopefully GE goes ahead and does just that.
Yeah, seems like that's the ventilator thing. That's the talking point that it just keeps coming up as our biggest failing right now, the biggest source of why shit is going to hit the fan hard.
Yeah. Also, I want to make a point to say that there have been people sharing messages on social media about delivery drivers saying that because they no longer make eye contact with people, their tips have dropped dramatically because people like equate, like if you see someone you feel, you're like, oh, I'll tip them. But like they're reporting that this is the worst month of tips ever because disconnecting from people and just leaving it there makes people more likely to not leave a tip.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah, if you're going to get a delivery service sent to you, if you're supporting a local business, even if fucking DoorDash drops
food,
it off.
Not a friend. Yeah. Fuck off. Damn.
DoorDash, not a great company. We turned down their money over a year ago after
good.
Some shit went down. We said no thanks.
They're all pretty bad, but DoorDash is particularly bad.
But what I'm saying is, like, if you get delivery done, at least tip the driver.
Yeah. I've been anywhere I can tip. I've been tipping like 30, 40%. Because I'm just like, I'm not spending nearly as much money as I usually do. Yeah. And every person in the service industry that I've encountered in the past few weeks, it's only been a few encounters, but it's just like, these people are fucking terrified.
Yeah, and they're all scared and getting worried.
Yeah,
and
anything I can do to help that, I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
So fucking tip your delivery drivers, you animals.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, let's end the show on a positive, more calm note with
get excited.
A little bit of good news. SiriusXM is free for the next month and a half until May 15th. This move actually kind of makes sense for them because they've probably had a lot of cancellations for their premium service from people who usually listen in their cars, but they don't commute anymore because job is gone and money's gone. So they're trying to keep people hooked on their service, and there's a lot of great music and talk channels on there. There's a lot of
all the news channels, like all the actual major news networks. You can get the direct audio feed on there, which is nice.
Yeah, but like in terms of like, I like their music channels a lot because it's just even the most specific, like obscure niche genres.
Americana.
Yeah, the
Lithium's great.
Yeah, the Little Stevens Underground Garage. Steven Van Zandt from the E Street Band. His channel's great. Yeah. Also Howard Stern, and just there's multiple stand-up comedy channels that's just constant stand-up comedy
it's not really worth it to pay full price for, but if they're giving away for free, you might as well use it. It's certainly, to me, not worth $20 a month, but
I think the basic price without Howard is usually like $8 a month.
And then you get them on the phone, you're like, I want to cancel. And they're like, all right, how's $1 a month sound?
Yeah.
They get really desperate.
So yeah, I mean, if you're bored and starved for some audio content while you, I don't know,
clean the house for the 50th time.
Yeah, might be worth a look. I mean, it's free content.
There's a find the correct link because it asks you to sign up and put a credit card down.
You don't have to do that.
You don't have to do that.
You
just skip it.
You just use the website. Yeah. It's right there.
They try to trick you. Don't be tricked.
I almost got tricked.
Yeah. Don't be tricked. Just click that off and then use it like you normally would.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's it for today's episode. If you missed our live stream yesterday, we sat for over 90 minutes with the guys from Funhouse, Adam and James. Had a nice conversation, lots of questions asked and answered. Had a good time, so check out that video. That's 90 minutes worth of content or more for you to
kill some time with us.
And also Monday's episode where we talked about that pastor getting arrested.
Feels like ages ago.
Days mean nothing.
Yeah.
So we'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.